All right, so I think this is going to be the start of a new video, depending on how long everything that I just did in the previous video is. I think the service center visit and the little bit of the drive that I did with Jay will be enough for a whole video. So this probably is the start of a new video. And this video is just going to focus on a few things. And the main thing is going to be version 12 on hardware 3 and what I find to be the differences in FSD. So I'm going to enable it right now. Like I said in the last video, if you didn't watch it, I primarily drive a hardware 4 vehicle that is in for service right now. So the vehicle they gave me is a 20-something Model 3 on hardware 3, and it's on a version 12 of FSD, which is notably different. A lot of people say it's terrible. So I just want to experience it. One thing that I talked about in my last video was... I'm just pulling over here to show it. Part of the whole, like, I don't know, cool thing about Tesla is this car I got as a loaner car, and all they did was set up the, like, they added it to my phone, and so in the app I have this car and I have access to it, so my key for this car is just my phone, the same as it is for my existing car. And then my profile syncs. So right now I'm on easy entry, which is like the basic profile. So actually if I go here and I click my name, the seat's going to adjust to exactly what it is in my Model 3. The screen went dark because I usually use dark mode. It's the song, like it's the podcast I was listening to when I got out of my car at Tesla. It's exactly how my buttons are laid out with Sirius, Spotify. Like, it's very cool that, I mean, otherwise, when you get in a vehicle for the first time, I think even my mirrors adjusted because they look all good now. Besides this one, because it's manual. But when you get in a loaner vehicle, generally you're like having to move the mirrors around and like getting things comfortable. With the profile and it being all synced across, it's really neat how it works. And so, yeah, that's cool. Like I now am in what feels more like my car, and that's with the touch of a button. So anyways, I'm just going to get started here. So the big thing that's different, there is no start FSD from park. I need to be driving. So that's one huge thing that, you know, it seems minor. And this is how you start FSD if you don't know. You just push down on the stalk. Seems very minor, but being able to start FSD with the push of a button from park is really cool. And it adds a lot to the overall experience. So that is one thing that I hope version 12 can get. I'm surprised, and I don't really understand why it doesn't have it, but okay, so coming up to the stop sign here, 3, 2, 1, we should go. Yeah, really good job there. I'll check too. So the speed offset, so there is speed profiles. Interesting. So on the drive I was just doing, in the video prior probably, I said there is no speed profiles because I wasn't seeing them on the screen, but there definitely is. They just don't show here. Anyways, I have it on 40% speed offset standard profile for the drive. Okay, so coming up here we have the pedestrian crossing flashing, but the pedestrians, yeah, we're already slowing down because there's a vehicle in front of us, so. For me, one of the biggest things that I'm noticing, the blinker cameras are good on hardware 3. Like, they're better than what's in my friend's Rivian. But these look notably worse than what's in hardware 4. So I definitely noticed the backup camera and the rear view, the backup camera and the both blinker cameras being like substantially better in hardware 4. Same with the ride overall. Like, I don't know how much it'll get picked up in the video, but the cab is definitely louder. Like, going over bumps, doing everything. Like, this is a much louder ride. Like that car that just drove by. Like, I hear the vehicle on the road and the noise, and you don't really get that as much in hardware 4. Or, yeah, in the refresh Model 3. Sorry, that's not a hardware 4. That's the refresh Model 3 specifically. Okay, we should just go.
So, you know, one of the...
So I'll have fast forwarded all that. And again, this is really easy stuff to kind of start the drive. But so far, I mean, I spend a lot of time using FSD and hardware 4. I don't think I noticed a difference yet. Early to tell, it's only been 5 minutes of driving. I just thought that I would notice, I thought it'd be substantial, the difference. And honestly, like these decisions that it's making, it's moving over, it's getting across, like it's doing a lot of the right things and it feels super smooth. So, kind of surprising in a good way. Okay, nice job getting over. I think we're turning right up here, so super early lane change. That was great. And there's barely destination parking in version 13, but version 12 I think has 0 destination parking. So I think it'll just stop in front of the store. I don't think it'll even make an attempt to park for us. Okay, we are over the white line. So as long as, okay. So, took the exit, but it just did it kind of awkwardly there. Cool, great job. We're here. Like I said, I think it's just going to stop us right in front of the building with the signal on. It's kind of a perfect job at doing what it was supposed to do. So far, version 12 is impressing me. I still have a little bit of running around to do, but I will check back with you guys in 1 second here once I finish parking. All right. So I am heading to McDonald's to grab a coffee. The nav, there we go, much better. I was a little confused there. So curious how the car's going to do in the parking lots because FSD 13 almost can barely do parking lots. I'd be curious how version 12 will be. This, I feel like, is going to be where I notice the biggest difference. So as I head over to McDonald's, I just want to give a shout out to someone from my YouTube channel named Tom. He was the first person that's ever donated to me via like a super thanks, I think it was called. He gave me $10 and said coffees are on me. So that's genuinely like a week's worth of McDonald's coffees for me. I really appreciate it. That's, you know, nobody needs to do anything. I'm happy to put these videos out for free, but you know, support like that obviously does help and incentivize me too, because it's cool. It's really, I don't know, it's a neat feeling. I've never had anybody give me money for videos like this before, and it was just cool. Like when it popped up in my notification, it kind of made my day. So thank you, Tom. And even just those of you who watch this channel and like and subscribe, that's enough too, because those likes and those subscriptions and comments, those all help my channel grow, and which then makes this easier for me, because as I get more popular, I get more views, and it just makes this whole thing worthwhile, because I enjoy doing it anyways, but obviously having more of you along for like the ride is better. Okay, we should, as I've been talking, I would say the car is doing a really good job navigating the parking lot. Other than the fact that nav data is like screwing us over right now, we should have just gone straight there. What we're doing is kind of, it's no human would ever take this route to get to McDonald's, but whatever. Okay, yeah, good job. There's a spot between two cars and we took it. It was very, very impressed with version 12. Like, I was expecting so much more like jitter and uncertainty through that parking lot. But honestly, it just did a great job. Like the only fault that it's made right now is nav data, and that is, okay, it's going the wrong way. That's FSD version 100 would still have these issues. As long as the nav data sucks, it doesn't matter what version of FSD we're on, which kind of showcases that point. That right now, in my opinion, the biggest Achilles heel for FSD is nav data. I talk about it all the time. So yeah, okay, I'm just grabbing a coffee now, and I will see you guys in 2 seconds. Okay, so I got my coffee, and what I'm gonna do right now, we're at 83%. I don't really need it. I just wanna showcase how supercharging works for those of you that don't know. It shows up on the map. It's really good. I can see that there's 6 stalls available at this supercharger. It tells you the price and everything. I'll go over that more once I actually get there. So you just click it, route to it. I don't think we'll we do precondition, okay. Like, there's gonna be some people in the comments that come at me because you're not even really supposed to supercharge. Oh, kind of struggling here. If you're at 83%, like, oh, interesting. Attention monitoring unavailable. I think it might be because of my hat. Like maybe I blocked the camera. Yeah, so the like best practice for supercharging, especially if you're on road trips or things like that, is you want to get the battery down as low as possible. So, you know, if you're doing a long road trip, you want to get down to, honestly, 10%, 5% if possible. Like, and then once you get down, we should go. Okay, I'm going to use the accelerator. We waited a little bit too long there to actually turn right, so I'm not sure what that was all about. And the nav is very weird. Like, we've taken a bad route. I just wanted to see what the car is going to do. So again, like, kind of similar to what happened to me on my drive yesterday. Big pothole. This isn't going to work. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Like, where we want to be is across the street, and there's a million better ways to do it than what the nav is suggesting right now, but let's see what the car does. I'm going to wait to talk about superchargers until we're actually supercharging, because I feel like things are about to get a little bit spicy here in a second. So, do we have our own lane? We don't. So yeah, we should wait. I would not go for a little bit. And you might even be able to see with this camera through here kind of what I'm looking at. I'm waiting for traffic here. Like, maybe you could go between this gap, but I wouldn't, because you'd just be cutting somebody off. I can see that the light's going to change soon, so I wouldn't even rush to cut any of these people off. So we have a bit of a gap. I hope the car doesn't try to take it, and then after that, it's just free and clear. So perfect. That's exactly how I would have done it, and I'm glad the car didn't try to like jump out in front of anybody during that whole thing. The roads are wet. Vehicles are moving pretty quick here. I would slow down. Okay. Okay, this is the first like version 12 that I've felt out of this car. It seems like more confident. Sorry. It seems like it moves almost faster and more confident. We're in standard mode than my car does. My hardware 4 car does. But it shouldn't. Like, I mean, it worked, but we got so close to that car, we like ripped up to those vehicles and then slammed on the brakes and then like cut right. It was just all very quick. I mean, it worked, but it felt uncomfortable. Okay, I think the car's gonna try and U-turn. I'll let it, because I've never actually had FSD do a U-turn before. If we get a U-turn ticket, we'll see what happens. Okay. I don't think that was illegal, but there was absolutely nobody coming. So I kind of just let it happen, but that's interesting to see that the car will do that. Yeah, I mean, people that are from, especially BC, let me know. Like, I'm pretty sure I also wouldn't go. I wouldn't go. Okay. We're now in a very stale intersection on a red light. Just got honked at. All right, my glowing review of version 12 is slowly coming down a little. it, yeah, like it's making more rash decisions than version 13 does, and it doesn't have the skills to do it. So it's strange. Like, oh god, speed bump that we're sort of slowing down for. It's bizarre. It's a really weird thing to explain. And I could see how if this was your only FSD, you would feel uncomfortable, because I use FSD a lot and I'm barely comfortable with what this car is doing. Okay, I'm gonna take over because it will not park us now. How do you reverse? Okay, so this is how supercharging works for those of you that don't have Teslas. You can see we're all pulled in here. This is one of the new supercharging cabinets, so these are very fast, though it doesn't really make a difference if you're just in the Model 3. But literally all you do is you back up to your little supercharger, hit park, and then I will show the rest on my phone. So 1 second, it's just gonna cut to me on my phone. Okay, so yeah, I'm in my car here. I don't really have to do anything. Technically, you could like press the button to open the supercharger, or the charging port. You'll see though, you don't need to do that. So you come out here, you have these cables. I think this is even the Magic Dock ones, where if you held this button, you'd get the adapter for the different types of cars. But anyways, you open this. Because I hit that button, this opens. You just put it in like that, and then it's charging. And you'll see in the car. So now, charging complete. Oh, interesting. So it won't even let me charge, because this is sort of what I was talking about before I got interrupted. This supercharger there's 2 spots left. I'm gonna leave right away. But because this is like a high occupancy supercharger, and there is like no spots left, it doesn't actually let you charge over 80%. Maybe if I swipe this? Yeah. So by default, it wasn't letting me charge, because it's basically like, no, you don't need to charge. You shouldn't be charging here. Go away. In favor of letting people that actually need to charge. So I was able to slide it past and tick it to 100, but generally you shouldn't charge at a supercharger. Yeah, if you're this high, see. Anyways, I don't use superchargers much, but this is kind of the information that you see, how long you have left, the charge limit, which I up to 100. And I'm also realizing I might be wrong about that 80% limit being set, that because it's busy. This, I just think, is not an LFP battery. My battery is an LFP battery, so my car lets me charge to 100. By default, I don't think you're supposed to charge this to 100%. Sorry if this information is wrong, but anyways, this shows you the speed that you're charging at, which equates to 248 kilometers an hour of charge. And then this is how much, so we've gotten 1 kilowatt, and this is how fast it is, right? This number that's at 39 is low. Usually it can be, I think, in the 200s. Again, I don't supercharge a lot, but for multiple reasons, this number is low. The main one being we didn't precondition, and the other one being because our battery is so high. Like if we'd come here and our battery was at 5%, this number would be notably different. So yeah, anyways, while you're charging, you can also see the cost. So session cost so far has been 20 cents. You have idle fees. This is the price per kilowatt. 19 cents is actually ridiculously cheap. Like that's just only a little bit more expensive than it costs for me to charge at home. So really impressive how cheap that is. But yeah, I mean, not much more to see here other than that's kind of how supercharging works. You press a button, click it in, it charges. And then while it's doing that, if you're chilling on the Tesla, you can go to, I don't know, theater, go to YouTube, and you can just watch YouTube videos while your car's charging. This is not my YouTube channel, so don't judge me on what's on here. I have no idea who had this last. It wasn't me, see? Just to be clear, we're not signed in. But yeah, so that's supercharging in a nutshell. And I'm gonna get out of here just because there is one car waiting. Okay, so you can see the guy behind me left, and as soon as he's leaving, this car is now like backing in, and I think seems like the way the queuing system works here is that person is next in line, I have supercharged like 3 times in my life, so I don't really even know the etiquette of it all. I wouldn't even know how to line up properly here. What is interesting is that Tesla a couple days ago made a announcement saying that they're gonna implement like a virtual queuing system for superchargers, probably to help with situations like that, because I have to imagine there's times where there's disagreements and fights about who came next and whose turn it is. The idea is really cool. The only issue I see with that is that only works if it's being done through like the Tesla app or through here. So all the vehicles that have access to superchargers but aren't Teslas, I have no idea how they're going to virtually queue. Because if Hyundai is waiting and they don't see the virtual queue, and then we should go straight. But I'm going to let it do its thing here. Yeah, if some Hyundai is waiting to go next, but there's 2 Teslas like virtually queued in front of them, how is that person going to know that? So that's all to be seen. Tesla only just recently announced it, but good job getting out of here. I think there's a huge pothole. Okay, we just avoided it. Yeah, my admiration for version 12 is waning, I would say. It's standard profile, like it's confident and sloppy is kind of the like oh god, it's the review that I'd give it right now. Like it genuinely feels more confident, more like unrestricted than version 13, but then when it gets itself into a situation, it's like the way that it handles itself feels sloppy. Like its braking is really late. It's maneuvering in situations where it should be finessed isn't as finessed. So yeah, I don't I don't like version 12. Like standard feels like hurry profile in version 13 and then some. So Lord knows what version 13 or version 12 hurry feels like. I honestly don't even want to try. I wouldn't want to try with a coffee in my hand, that's for sure. Even just the fact of how much time we're spending in the left lane, that's not how, yeah, see, we did like a big swerve there. We're spending way more time in the left lane in standard than we ever do in standard in version 13, which is very strange. For those of you who own a Tesla, I'm sorry that supercharging stop was probably a little bit unhelpful. I mean, I'm probably the last person that you should be taking supercharging information from, because like I said, I think I've genuinely supercharged 3 or 4 times. So there's a lot to it that I don't know, a lot of like etiquette, a lot of like pro tips that I don't know. But the biggest one that I can say is make sure your battery's preconditioned and make sure that your battery is as low as possible when you're road tripping. The car will do a really good job of that. Like if you're from BC, if I was to road trip to Kelowna, it will do its best to make me stop as efficiently as possible. And then there's times though that, I mean, you watch like Out of Spec and a few of the other YouTuber people, they know better than Tesla's like system and will skip superchargers in favor of showing up somewhere with like 2%, which sounds crazy, but if you're confident that you can get to a supercharger with 2%, you'll save a ton of time. So yeah, supercharge with as low percent as possible without running out of battery is kind of the balancing act of EV charging on long road trips. But it's ridiculously easy. Like the thing that swayed me to buy a Tesla when we were looking at buying an EV, we were like this close to buying a Hyundai Kona. We actually paid like $500 to test drive it for a week. We rented it through Turo, and they had a thing where you rented it through Turo, through the dealership, and then if you ended up buying the vehicle, they refunded you all that money. So it was like a free week-long test drive, effectively. Just given that EVs were so different, I wanted to actually spend more than your standard 1 hour test drive with the vehicle and really get to see how it felt to own an EV. So we drove it up to Whistler, and charging at anything other than a Tesla supercharger is the worst experience that I've ever had in my entire life. The first place we went to, and again, this might not be the same everywhere, but for me, this is how it went. We were in Whistler. We went to a parking lot, and you had to pay for parking in that parking lot. So we paid for parking, and then went to this stupid, I don't even know what the charger type was. I might throw it up on the screen right now because I could Google and I could tell you which one I was at. But we were at this charging station, and you have to then download your stupid app. And so you download, like, the last thing you want to do is go through all these steps. But so I've downloaded, I think, a pay by phone app to park in this parking lot, and then I download an app to pay to charge the car. Okay, both those things are done. You've added credit cards. Literally 10 minutes later, ready to go. I back the car up, plug it in, and then it just doesn't start. It just isn't charging. And very new to EVs, I don't know. Is there something I need to do in the car? Is there something I haven't done right here? Do I have to press a different button? And it's not very, there's not a lot of feedback on what I'm doing wrong. So we spent another, let's say, 5 minutes troubleshooting. I moved to another charger, plug it in, same thing. And then I phoned the charging company, and they're like, oh yeah, those chargers are broken. You're gonna have to move somewhere else. And I was like, okay, well, I just paid for parking here. I didn't realize your chargers were broken. Can you help me out? She's like, nope, not at all. Nothing we can do for you. There's a charger across the street. I was like, okay, fine. I went across the street, paid for parking again, because this is Whistler and everything's expensive there, and found out, again, I didn't know any of this stuff, the other charger that was there, we're slowing down really late. The other charger that was there is effectively like a level 2 charger, meaning like it's like home charging. So we would have had to sit there for like 6 hours to get any amount of meaningful charge. It was just like a really shitty experience, and was not how I wanted it to go, and it kind of put me off EVs. And then we came home after doing all that, and I was like, literally ready to abandon the idea of owning an EV, because I'm like, hey, like, the world is not set up for it yet. And then for whatever reason, we stopped in at Tesla, which I'd always like admired, but thought they were too expensive and there's just no way we could afford them. But we took one for a test drive, and they actually let us do an overnight test drive. And during that, I was like, okay, well, let's try and see what a Tesla supercharger's like. So we had our car, we went to a supercharger, and it's just like dead simple. Like, imagine going to a gas pump, and you don't have to put in your credit card, you don't have to do anything. You just go to a gas pump, you take the gas pump out, and you put it in your car. That's it. And that's all a supercharger is with Tesla. Like, you pull it out, you saw it in the video, you click it in, and then you just chill in your car for 15 minutes at most, and you get to watch a show, do whatever, and then you're ready to go. We did that a couple times, and I quickly realized that if we were going to own an EV, it was going to be a Tesla. And yeah, the hilarious thing about that is, because we have charging at home, I rarely interact with superchargers, but on our road trips that we have done, the fact that we have access to the supercharging network makes the road trips like zero stress. I would hate to road trip with a vehicle that was not a Tesla and did not have access to the Tesla supercharging network. So, yeah. Sorry for the little tangent. Car's doing an okay job. Super early signal again. So I guess that's a version 12 and version 13 thing. We're 200 meters out from this right turn. The car behind us probably thought we were going to pull in there. Like, see, this guy only just started braking or signaling now, which is what we should have done. Yes, I mean, you can probably see it in the wheel, and this is exactly the corner I took this morning where I mentioned it as well. The car definitely lacks the, like, layer of polish that version 13 has. It seems like version 12 is good, but when you compare it to version 13, it really, the like finishing touches is what's making FSD so good. Like version 13 rarely makes decisions and moves that makes me feel uncomfortable, you know, and it does make them, and I talk about them, but like generally just driving on roads like this and turning corners and doing things, like I feel really confident with it maneuvering through traffic. Version 12 has kind of like taken away a lot of that confidence. Like it just feels so like sloppy and bumpy on the road that I'm much more like on edge using this. And so I could imagine that a normal person would hate this, because if you're constantly feeling like your car's just gonna like miss a turn or hit a car or whatever, it's not really fun. That's not to say it will do those things, but just that, like, I don't know. It's really hard to explain it. It's a feeling, like it's a gut feeling when you're in this car that just doesn't give me the same confidence that I get out of version 13. So it's still good. It's still really, like, there's no other car that can do this. Like, it's still very impressive what version 12 is doing. It's just not version 13. So anyways, I'm basically home now. This will probably be a short video. Let me know if you want me to keep seeing more version 12 videos, because I think I'm not going to have my car back for a little while. I'll pop it up on the screen right now, but as of all day today, since this morning, the car is just sitting in the Tesla parking lot at service. So I don't think they're actually going to work on it. I think they just made the appointment and they're going to park it for a couple days and then hopefully look at it before Wednesday. But it is a bit upsetting that it's just sitting there doing nothing. So yeah, if you want to see more version 12 videos, let me know. If you guys have no interest at all, I will save myself the work and not record these videos. So take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, slammed on the brake there. GoPro, stop recording.